Hi friends, it's Adelita. We just finished our Board of Supervisors meeting Tuesday, June 20th. We started at 9:07 and ended at 2:13, so it's 5 hours. And I want to thank Judge Erica Cornejo for leading us in the pledge. I asked her totally last minute and I'm glad that she was there to do it. Thank you very much. I also want to thank Antonio Ramirez. He's the Communications and Policy Director for Ward 1, Councilmember Lane Santa Cruz. He came down to read the land acknowledgement and it was so nice to have you there in person. Thank you so much for being there. Our call to the audience, we affected the changes that were voted on last board meeting, and we had 28 speakers sign up, and everyone who wanted to speak was able to speak, even someone who came out right from the audience and said, with a card in her hand, and said, "Can I still speak?" So we let everyone speak before we hit the 1 hour mark, which I think is great. And really, I think this policy is going to work out really well. I know it's frustrating for some people who come down and only have 2 minutes to speak, but I do think that for the most part, people were able to get to their point a lot quicker. And I have to say that there were more pointed items or conversation and direction to the board as far as call to the audience that were specific to agenda items, which I always appreciate. So I thought that was good. We had our budget meeting today, so it's hearings and approval. We had, oh my gosh, 9 different items. Left my little cheat sheet over there. 9 different items, but it was the budget, and it was $1.76 billion, little over that. We have 4,100 FTE, full-time equivalent employees. That means that we have full-time employees, part-time employees, but the equivalent is 4,100, and of those, 3,542 FTE are in either the justice or law enforcement departments. So our focus is really a lot based on our budget is in that area, and we had a less than 1% overall increase in our tax rate. And so I think that that was very helpful. It's included $5 million in affordable housing, which was a request that we made the previous fiscal year, and $2 million in open space. So I was glad to support that. We also had just a note that there's a lot of conversation about Pima County not putting money into roads. Of this budget, $43 million was roads. So I do think that it's a significant amount. We have approved outside agency attractions and tourism. Just to give you an idea, the funding award is $400,000 that's available. The funding request was $1.1 million. And we added, so we approved the $400,000 and added, thank you to Supervisor Scott for bringing this item forward. We added an item for the African American Museum of $20,000, and that was thank you to Bob and Beverly Elliott for attending and in person and speaking to the board. We really appreciate that. Pima County Affordable Housing Gap Funding. This is that $5 million in affordable housing that was approved last year and will be in this budget this year. We approved about $2.6 million in affordable housing. It's actually $2,625,000 for 203 affordable housing units over 2 projects. So obviously we didn't get to the $5 million, that was the goal, but this was the first year of implementation. They put out a request for proposal. I think we're going to be able to fine tune that process. And so the balance, which is $2,375,000, is going to be going into the 23-24 fiscal year. So it'll be a total of $7,375,000 that will be available to be distributed for affordable housing. So I think that that's really positive. And I think we had a good opportunity to talk to Director Darling about, you know, what are some of the pitfalls that happened this go round and what are some things that we can tweak. And I also brought up the issue of mobile homes, and that many of the rehab funding, either through the state or the feds, are not able to be applied into mobile home communities, and that is a large percentage of our affordable housing inventory in Pima County, and they need some support as well. So I'm hoping that we'll be able to figure that out. We had audit results that came down. The Auditor General came down to our board meeting to discuss findings, and Pima County had 3 findings. All of them have been addressed. One of them was due to changing over of a new financial system, and someone was able to kind of manipulate that system. There was another one. All of those changes have also been made. And there was one audit finding having to do with our previous county administrator, where there wasn't notification to the board of his retirement. And so even though he did notify then Chair Bronson the fact that he was retiring, the rest of the board was completely in the dark and had no idea. And so that was an audit finding. And so I'm glad that we've changed board policy to reflect that you can't just tell one of us, you have to tell all 5 of us. And that's been something consistently that we've been working on, not just in this situation, but in every other one since I've been chair. We had a potential, this was actually a really good one. The IDA in Pima County asked for a potential $26 million. It's going to be a bond program, a potential $26 million to go to single family mortgage and bonds. And I think that that's going to be really exciting because we don't know how many people and families this could help, but $26 million in a bond program sounds pretty good to us. So I'm happy to go ahead and move forward in that direction. The other thing I wanted to mention before I get too far off of the affordable housing is Pima County has not been in the affordable housing business for 10 years, over a decade. And so some of the things that we're working through really have to do with the fact that we haven't been doing that. And so I'm glad that as part of the direction and leadership from this office that we are moving towards getting back into the affordable housing arena and not just leaving it to all of the other cities and municipalities around us to deal with their own. I think that it's important that while I appreciate that the city of Tucson has been doing the heavy lifting on this issue, this is an issue that requires all hands on deck. We are still 40,000 homes shy of where we'd like to be, and of those, affordable housing is a really big component of it. So I'm glad that we're doing that. We had Judge Bergen come to talk to us and suggest some recommendations and plans for the initial appearances. Those hearings have been a problem for a long time. We had a discussion over 15 months ago, almost 16 months ago, and there's been really seemingly very little movement in that direction. What I did hear clearly from Judge Bergen is while this is just a cost-sharing item, that it is not an opportunity for the Board of Supervisors to give direction to the courts. That it's very clearly, we have the legal, judicial, and executive branches of our government, and that we're not going to cross over. But their budget comes to us, I think, for a check and balance. And for us to not take the opportunity, and I took the opportunity directly to speak to Judge Bergen about the concerns that we hear in this office regarding the 24-hour release of inmates without having services. So all of those people are just kind of cruising around in our communities. District 5 represents the majority of those neighborhoods that are in that area that complain about people just sort of being released and have nowhere to go and no services to go to. And then from our law enforcement, both TPD and sheriffs have complained to us in our office about the wait times. If we're going to go and check someone into the jail, that it can be anywhere from 3 to 4 hours, and that process takes those law enforcement officers off our streets. And in both the sheriff and TPD, Marana, Oro Valley, everyone is short law enforcement officers. And so to have somebody just sitting at the jail area waiting for someone to be processed for 3 to 4 hours is not utilizing their time very effectively. And so I want to make sure that we address some of those things. I want to thank Dr. Meeks for coming down and speaking to the board about her concerns, and thank you for giving us some kudos for working towards. I think we're going to continue to do that, but we do need the cooperation of the courts. It seems at this point that there is a willingness to continue to work together, and so I'm glad to hear that. Item number 50 was a U of A College of Medicine Health Literacy Project, and that item passed 3-2 with Supervisors Bronson and Christie voting no. Supervisor Christie spoke and said that he's voting no because COVID is over. And Supervisor Bronson didn't clarify her reason to vote no, but that to me is incredibly disappointing. but the item did pass 3-2. Then there was a U of A Mexican American Studies grant to advance health literacy, and it's the Advancing of the Health Literacy Project. It was for $63,143. That item passed 4-1 with Supervisor Christie voting no, basically saying COVID is over again. We had a speaker that actually referred to this item during their call to the audience and said, for people who are ethnically challenged, incredibly offensive. And so that's the kind of stuff that we as a community have to deal with that we shouldn't have to. And so I'll be sure to call out those comments in the future. At item 53, the Rethel racetrack, that item passed 4-1. I voted no, basically for safety concerns for employees and the animals out there. We've had a lot of people call and are very concerned about Rethel racetrack, and also the fact that the county's involved in a racetrack at all. So I voted no, but the item passed 4-1. There was item 57, run back election services. This is an item that was brought forward for a machine that will process an incredible amount of ballots and check signatures. So it's a sorting kind of machine. And Supervisors Christie and Bronson voted no. So the item did pass 3-2, but they wanted the purchase of this equipment, this capital equipment, to go to the Elections Integrity Commission for them to sort of weigh in. But that committee doesn't have any authority over the recorder's office. And so it basically was a purchase of equipment, and I didn't see any reason for us to delay this purchase in order to have a committee whose opinion, not that I don't value it, but it won't have any impact on this particular purchase because they don't have any authority over the recorder's office. So I went ahead and voted for it, and thank you to Supervisors Scott and Hines for voting in favor of that. We also had an item number, I believe it was addendum item 5. The Sheriff's Department is over budget by $3.3 million. And this came forward by the county administrator, and what I heard very clearly from Administrator Lesher is that these items were usually addressed with the previous administration, just done. It didn't come to the board for a vote, but because she really wants to push for transparency and that we're all on the same page, even though we get monthly printouts of all the departments and how everyone is doing, is our fiduciary responsibility as the county to maintain those things. She wanted to bring this forward because it's a significant amount of money that the Sheriff's Department is over. So what we did is, it was a compromise vote, and it passed 4-1 to move forward with allocating 1.8 million, or what is necessary. I think it might be a little bit over 1.8 to cover the cost for staff. So all of the staff that are working, their hourly salary or their hourly wage or their salaries, that people who are working right now overtime, they have deputies working at the jail. So that cost is going to be increased because deputies make more than our corrections officers, that we make sure that those people are made whole and that their salaries are paid for. But the Sheriff's Department, or none of our elected offices, can go over their budget without approval from the board. And so that item passed 4-1, and then we're going to be asking, or we asked if Sheriff Nanos could come to the July 11th meeting to discuss what the overages are. And one of the concerns that I'd heard is from people that are in the department, the kind of capital expenditures that are being made are really what the issue is. And so I'd like to be able to ask some questions directly. So anyway, we addressed that, and that was it. Our next meeting is going to be July 11th. So it was a really long meeting, but I thought, we had a good conversation. Dia de San Juan is going to be on Saturday, June 27th. June 24th. So this Saturday from 6 to 10 p.m. It's going to be at Mission Garden, located at 946 West Mission Lane. Please go ahead and join us. We'll be there for part of that event, and we're very excited about it. We talked a lot about Period Poverty Awareness Week and the collection. I wanted to let you know we collected over 56,300 period products. And thank you to the Diaper Bank, SAFE, the YWCA, and Pima County Libraries for all of your help. That's an incredible drive, and congratulations to Elvira Suareztin, our D5 staff member, for being the lead on that project. And it's really, we're doing a lot of really good things for our communities, and what we're hoping for is with these products to be able to offer free products at all of our libraries as a pilot program. We'll start with D5 and then kind of get the wrinkles out, and then hopefully expand that to all of the libraries sometime early in this year. And then happy 4th of July to all of you. It's going to be coming up before we talk again. I will be spending my 4th of July in Washington, D.C. with Mariachi Aslan de Pueblo High School as one of the parent sort of helpers, and I'm just really excited to see these young people, over 25 of them, many of whom have never flown and have never been to Washington, are going to be able to have an amazing opportunity of a lifetime, and I'm excited to go. We're going to be able to visit the White House, the Capitol. My favorite Congressman, Adelita Grijalva, is going to, their staff is going to give us a tour, and we're going to be playing on the steps of the Capitol. So we're hoping to have some live stream options, so if you're interested in that, you can look at for Mariachi Aslan de Pueblo High School, and there'll be some fun stuff there. Or look, it's going to be a televised parade. You can check out the Independence Day Parade and cheer loud for your hometown mariachi group, Mariachi Aslan. Thank you so much, friends, for all your attention. Stay safe. Happy 4th. Thanks for paying attention to Pima County politics.